Good morning, Green Spring. Once again, I'm your host, Avan Price, and today I have a special guest from Outpatient Rehab who's going to talk to us about safety in our home. Because as we all know, we need to make sure we're maintaining our physical health and make sure we're going to try to avoid all those accidents. So I'm going to introduce my guest. I already forgot. Arlee?
Arlee.
Arlee. I see. I already
Newman.
forgot in that quick second. Arlee Newman. I'm so sorry. Thanks for coming on the show today. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And you?
I'm doing great. So
Good.
Can you kind of tell us what you're going to talk about today?
Safety at home, I think, is a very critical subject because most folks here at Green Spring live in independent living, and even though they may feel good and walk 3 miles a day or whatever, the fact of the matter is when we feel good, then we tend to take chances that put us at risk for falls or put us at risk for accidents. And I remind people all the time, even though I feel great most of the time, I'm not 25, therefore I shouldn't expect myself to be able to do what a 25-year-old does.
So safety's in the home. So can you kind of describe the kind of I know we were talking offline before the show. Can you kind of describe the kind of furniture arrangement that residents should have their apartment set up to avoid such falls or such accidents?
It's always good to have an open plan. Having said that, anything on the floor, whether it's you're done with your newspaper, you cast it aside, waste baskets that are placed in areas where there's traffic, not a good idea. It's important to keep it clear, like I said. Those recliner chairs that let you go and recline and then get back up, sometimes people don't put the footrest down on that. They just get up and they can trip on that. A lot of times too, some models of those rock, and so that's not safe either. An open plan in the bedroom is a very good idea also. You don't want to have to scoot past your dresser and pick your way across your shoes or whatever. So everything may be against the wall, keep it open. Lighting is important. For example, a lot of people need to use the bathroom in the middle of the night. Nightlight key. Okay. Open door, that'd be a great idea too.
Okay.
But everything needs to be open and as risk-free as possible because we want to continue to live healthy, strong lives.
Now, when you were saying that things need to be open, I was just thinking, some people are much more tidier than others. So this is going to require possibly some changing in our habits of maintaining an organized apartment and an organized lifestyle. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I mean, I might be at home and getting in the cupboard to get out a dish or something, or loading something in the dishwasher. I might cognitively know that I've got that cupboard door open or the dishwasher door down, and then I might turn and do something, and if it's open, I'm going to hit my head or bark my shins on that door, and that's not a good thing for anyone.
Because I was telling you earlier, like in my room, usually I'm coming and going really fast. So, I have clothes on the floor, I throw my shoes, anywhere in my room. And then when I come home, I'm always tripping over stuff. Or there was even one time I tripped over my own laundry basket and all that kind of stuff. I recovered because, I'm young at the moment. But, for someone who might be a little older, that can actually be a safety hazard.
Right. So the best policy, I would say, is you get something out, you put it away, you eliminate some of those natural hazards. It's a good habit from the start. Now,
as your role as an occupational therapist, how can you help a resident with these kind of safety tips?
For example, if we were to come in, if someone is having some concerns about their safety or family members, we might hear from family members about some concerns about mom or dad, we could come in and do just a general assessment, make suggestions about how they could ease the transition from current levels of function to anticipating needs in the future. Some of those needs might be a walking device or reconfiguring the furniture arrangement, suggesting one shower chair over another, maybe installing another grab bar in the kitchen or in the bathroom. Those are typical places. But things, for example, like I know a lot of people still make snacks here, or they might get themselves a drink from the refrigerator. But for example, an ice cube falling on the floor, right there, hard to see when it melts, okay? Nice slip hazard right there.
So don't kick it under the fridge.
Don't kick it under the fridge. You got a plant, toss it in there. But for example, too, throw rugs in the bathroom, in the kitchen. It's nice to have something warm to put your feet on, especially if you like to go barefoot. But again, that can curl up. You can trip on that. If you use a walker, you can catch your walker legs on that. We could come in and do just a safety assessment in the home. But there has to be a need for that, or someone expressing concern. And I think a lot of times it would come from the family members because they care about their loved ones.
Now, in your experience working at Green Spring and other places, what would you say is the most dangerous room, or the one that needs the most attention within an apartment?
I'm sorry, the bathroom. The
bathroom. Why?
No question. Well, there's the obvious issue of the shower. Even grab bars in the shower, they're great to hold on to, but they can get soapy, hands can slip. Sometimes people, again, as we get older, we think that we can do all these things as independently as we did when we were younger. So, okay, I used to be able to wash my feet without holding on to something when I was 25. If you're 75, that's just not a good idea. And for example, if there are those sliding doors in the bathroom, those are not a grab bar. You pull on those, they'll come right off. The shower curtain, again, you're losing your balance. You pull on something that's not meant to be pulled on, and you'll go down. So right there. Spills on the floor in the bathroom. Again, night light is key. The toilet, if it's too low, that could be a problem getting on or off. Maybe another grab bar is needed. Things like that. Soap falls down on the ground. I would also suggest for people who have trouble retrieving things from the floor to get a couple reachers. Put one of them in the bathroom, one of them in the kitchen.
Now, it made me think, is it safer to have a shower or to have a bathtub, or does it matter?
Well, bathtubs are hard to get into, and some people, especially some folks that used to love to soak in a bathtub, it's just not a good idea for most folks, I think. Having said that, if you have the bathtub style shower stall, you can still take a shower safely with something we call a tub bench, a tub transfer bench, and that makes showering very, very convenient and much easier to get in. Generally speaking, I think the walk-in shower is a good idea, but it depends upon what people like. Those tend to be smaller.
Okay. Now, you mentioned some equipment like reachers and different bars, assistant bars and stuff. Now, if I'm a resident and I realize I need this, do you help me receive such items, or who do I go to so I can purchase such items to be placed in my apartment?
That would probably demand a home assessment, or if someone's having trouble, maybe they could look online and get some equipment that's suggested to them. That's not necessarily a need for therapy, but if there are overall problems with getting dressed, that's a good opportunity for therapy to make an appointment and have people come in and assess what the needs are in terms of mobility and in terms of taking care of your basic needs.
Okay. Now, is there any other things you want to talk about home safety that you want to touch upon?
It's such a broad area. That's why I chose it. Let's see. Maneuvering around, whether it's with a walker or a cane or a rollator, those again are physical therapy issues, but also with occupational therapy. It's important for people to also understand when it's time to stop using the oven or stop using the stove. Even the microwave can be a hazard. If you're busy doing something and you've got something on the stove and it boils over and then maybe causes a fire, that's a problem. Some of these issues, it's time sometimes to just hang up the car keys or hang up simple tasks like that. There's no real need. But it is important to have someone recognize that things are transitioning and we need to make changes to ensure safety. I
never thought about that. That was a good point, that that you might come to a point where you can't use the oven or the stove anymore. So that's an important thing to be cognizant of. And I guess your department would help
Mm-hmm.
the resident to realize that, right?
Absolutely. Now, sometimes there are issues such as hearing loss or vision loss that complicates things further, of course. Certainly, we can suggest maybe some tactile controls on the oven, on the controls of the stove, little raised bumps or whatever. But again, do you really want to do that? It's important to recognize when it's time to transition to some other way of doing things.
Well, do you have any last minute? We're coming up on our last couple seconds. Do you have any last minute message you want to say to the residents?
Enjoy your life, but be safe. And join me at Disney.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming on. I'm definitely going to be more safe in my home and look to see, how I can maintain my physical health and stop tripping over laundry baskets.
Good idea.
Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you.
Thank you.